Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Defender, watching the screens that showed 3 alien ships moving toward Earth's solar system. The ships were sleek and silver, nothing like the bulky human vessels he was used to seeing. They moved with perfect formation, their hulls reflecting the light from distant stars. "Captain, we're getting a signal from the lead ship," said Lieutenant Amy Carter from her position at the communications console. Her fingers worked quickly over the controls as strange sounds filled the bridge. The alien language was musical, with high and low tones that seemed to dance together. Jake nodded and straightened his uniform. This was the moment they had all been waiting for. After decades of wondering if humans were alone in the universe, the answer had finally come to them. "Put it through the translator, Amy. Let's see what they want." The translator worked for several seconds, processing the alien words. Then a clear voice spoke in English. "Greetings, inhabitants of the third planet. We are the Zelrani Confederation. We come in peace and wish to establish contact with your species." Jake looked around the bridge at his crew. They were all young officers, most of them fresh out of the academy. None of them had ever imagined they would be the first humans to talk to aliens. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the United Earthship Defender," he said clearly. "We welcome you to our solar system." The alien response came quickly. "We are honored by your greeting, Captain Morrison. I am Ambassador Thyrix of the Zelrani Diplomatic Fleet. We have traveled far to meet your people. We bring gifts and proposals for trade between our civilizations." Jake smiled, but something in the alien's tone made him careful. The voice was polite, but there was something else underneath. It reminded him of the way adults sometimes talk to children. Kind, but not quite respectful. "We appreciate your peaceful intentions, Ambassador. What brings you to our system?" "We have been watching your species expand into nearby star systems," Thyrix replied. "Your people show promise, though you are still young in the ways of space travel. We wish to offer guidance and friendship to help you grow." Lieutenant Amy Carter looked up from her console with a frown. She had been monitoring the alien ship's scans of their vessel. The readings showed that the aliens were examining every part of the Defender, from its weapons to its engine systems. They were being very thorough, almost like they were studying a museum piece. "Ambassador," Jake said carefully, "we would be happy to discuss trade and friendship. However, we should follow proper protocols. Would you be willing to meet with our government representatives?" There was a pause before Thyrix answered. "Of course, Captain. We understand that young civilizations need time to organize such meetings. We will wait at the edge of your system while you arrange this." Jake noticed that the alien had called them a young civilization again. It was starting to bother him. "Thank you for your patience. We'll contact our superiors immediately." As the communication ended, Jake turned to his crew. "Amy, get me Admiral Brooks on Luna Station, Priority Channel." While Amy worked on the connection, Jake studied the alien ships on his screens. They were beautiful in their own way, but there was something about them that made him uneasy. They moved too smoothly, too confidently, like they owned the space around them. "Captain," said Lieutenant Tom Wilson from the weapons station, "I've been analyzing their ships. They're not showing any weapons, but their energy signatures are huge. Much bigger than ours." Jake nodded. He had noticed the same thing. The alien ships were clearly more advanced than anything humans had built. Their engines were more efficient. Their hulls were made of materials he didn't recognize, and their technology was far beyond human capabilities. "Sir, I have Admiral Brooks," Amy announced. The screen flickered, and Admiral Lisa Brooks appeared. She was a stern woman in her 50s, with gray hair and sharp eyes. "Captain Morrison, I've been monitoring your communication. Good work on the first contact." "Thank you, Admiral. The aliens want to meet with our government. They say they come in peace, but something feels off about them. Admiral Brooks nodded. I've been thinking the same thing. Their approach is too smooth, too. Practiced, like they've done this before with other species. What are your orders, Admiral? Escort them to Luna Station, but keep your distance. Don't let them get too close to Earth until we know more about their intentions. And Captain, be polite, but don't give them any information about our military capabilities. Jake understood. The Admiral was being cautious, and that was probably wise. Understood, Admiral. We'll guide them to the meeting point. As the connection ended, Jake turned back to his crew. Amy, contact the aliens again. Tell them we're ready to escort them. To the meeting. The response came quickly. Excellent, Captain Morrison. We look forward to meeting your leaders. As the Defender began to move toward Luna Station, with the alien ships following, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that this first contact was going to be more complicated than anyone expected. The aliens were polite, but there was something in their manner that suggested they thought they were dealing with children. He hoped that Admiral Brooks and the other Earth leaders would be ready for whatever the Zelrani really wanted. The meeting room on Luna Station was carefully prepared for the historic encounter. Admiral Lisa Brooks sat at the head of a long table, with Ambassador Helen Martinez on her right and Dr. Kevin Taylor on her left. The xenobiologist had been studying the alien transmissions for days. Trying to understand their culture and intentions. Across from them sat Ambassador Thyrix, a tall being with pale blue skin and large, dark eyes. His companion, military advisor Kelvok, was shorter but broader, with the same blue skin but more rigid posture. Both aliens wore flowing robes that seemed to shift color in the light. Admiral Brooks, Thyrix began, his voice smooth and musical. We are pleased to finally meet face to face. Your species has much potential, though you have much to learn about the galaxy. Lisa kept her expression neutral, but Dr. Taylor noticed her jaw tighten slightly. We appreciate your interest in humanity, Ambassador. We're eager to learn about your confederation and what you can offer us. Thyrix smiled, showing teeth that were slightly too sharp. The Zelrani Confederation has guided many species into the galactic community. We have been watching your expansion into nearby systems, and we believe the time has come for humanity to join our organization. Ambassador Martinez leaned forward. That sounds wonderful. What would membership involve? Kelvok spoke for the first time, his voice deeper and more harsh than Thyrix's. The Confederation provides technology, protection, and trade opportunities. In return, member species agree to certain limitations on their expansion and military development. Dr. Taylor frowned. What kind of limitations? Nothing too restrictive, Thyrix said quickly. Simply agreements to prevent conflicts and ensure peaceful development. For example, new members typically agree to limit their territorial expansion to their home system and perhaps one or two nearby systems. Lisa felt her blood pressure rising. You're asking us to stop expanding into space? Not stop, Thyrix corrected. Simply slow down and follow proper procedures. The galaxy is a dangerous place, Admiral. Young species often make mistakes that can lead to war or destruction. We help prevent such problems. Dr. Taylor had been studying the aliens' body language throughout the conversation. Both Thyrix and Kelvok carried themselves with the confidence of people who were used to being obeyed. Their tone was polite, but there was an underlying assumption that humans would naturally accept their offer. What about our military? Lisa asked. You mentioned limitations on military development. Kelvok's expression hardened. The Confederation maintains peace through strength. Member species are not required to have large military forces. We provide protection in exchange for cooperation. Ambassador Martinez tried to keep the conversation diplomatic. These are significant decisions. That would affect all of humanity. We would need time to discuss this with our governments. Dyrix's smile became less warm. Of course. However, we hope you understand that the Confederation's offer is not unlimited. The galaxy is changing, and species that refuse to adapt often find themselves isolated and vulnerable. Dr. Taylor caught the subtle threat in the alien's words. Are you saying there would be consequences if we don't join? Not consequences, Thyrix replied smoothly. Simply the natural result of remaining outside the galactic community. Trade opportunities would be limited, technological advancement would be slower, and protection from hostile species would not be available. Lisa stood up, her patience finally wearing thin. Ambassador, let me be clear. Humanity has managed to survive and thrive for thousands of years without your guidance. We appreciate your offer, but we're not interested in giving up our independence. Kelvok also stood, his posture becoming more threatening. Admiral, with respect, your species has been in space for less than a century. You have no idea what dangers exist in the galaxy. There are hostile species that would destroy Earth without hesitation. Then why don't you tell us about these dangers, instead of asking us to give up our freedom? Lisa shot back. The room fell silent. The two aliens exchanged glances, and Dr. Taylor could see them communicating in some way that didn't involve words. Finally, Thyrix spoke again. Admiral, perhaps you misunderstand our position. The Confederation is not asking you to give up your freedom. We are offering to help you grow safely and responsibly. By limiting our expansion and military development, Ambassador Martinez said quietly. By preventing you from making the mistakes that have destroyed other species, Kelvok replied, firmly. Dr. Taylor had heard enough. What happened to the species that refused your offer? Another long pause. Thyrix's expression became more serious. Some chose isolation and fell behind technologically. Others expanded too quickly and encountered hostile forces they couldn't handle. A few tried to challenge the Confederation directly. And what happened to those who challenged you? Lisa asked. Kelvok's eyes narrowed. They learned that the Confederation's military is not to be underestimated. The threat was no longer subtle. Lisa felt her anger rising, but she forced herself to remain calm. I think we need to take a break. This conversation is moving in directions that concern me. Thyrix nodded, but his smile was gone. Of course, Admiral. Perhaps some time to consider our offer will help you understand its value. As the aliens left the room, Dr. Taylor turned to Admiral Brooks. Lisa, they're not here to offer us membership. They're here to demand our surrender. Lisa nodded grimly. I was thinking the same thing. They expect us to roll over and accept their terms because they think we're too weak to resist. Ambassador Martinez looked worried. What do we do? Their ships are clearly more advanced than ours. We buy time, Lisa said, and we hope that our friends in the outer system have been paying attention to these negotiations. Dr. Taylor raised an eyebrow. What friends in the outer system? Lisa smiled for the first time that day. The kind that don't appear on any public records, Kevin. The kind that make sure humanity always has options. As the three humans began planning their next move, none of them noticed that the aliens had left monitoring devices in the room. Thyrix and Kelvok were already analyzing the conversation, and they didn't like what they were hearing. The humans are more stubborn than expected, Kelvok observed. Then we will have to be more persuasive, Thyrix replied coldly. 3 days had passed since the first meeting, and the negotiations had gone nowhere. Admiral Lisa Brooks sat in her office on Luna Station, reviewing the latest reports from the diplomatic sessions. Ambassador Thyrix had become increasingly impatient, and military advisor Kelvok had started making barely veiled threats. A chime sounded, and her door opened. Ambassador Helen Martinez entered, looking tired and frustrated. Lisa, they're demanding another meeting. Thyrix says they won't wait any longer for our answer. Lisa looked up from her reports, Let me guess. They want us to accept their terms. Immediately, or they'll consider our silence to be a hostile act. Close enough, Helen replied, dropping into a chair. They've also started scanning our defense satellites more aggressively. Our people are getting nervous. They should be, Lisa said grimly. Dr. Taylor's analysis suggests that the Zelrani have done this before. They find a species that's just starting to expand into space, offer them membership in their confederation, and then slowly take control of everything. Helen nodded. The classic protection racket. Join us or face the consequences. Exactly. And if we refuse, they'll make an example of us to discourage other species from resisting. Before Helen could respond, the communication system activated. Admiral Brooks, this is Captain Morrison on the Defender. We're detecting movement in the alien fleet. They're repositioning their ships. Lisa stood up quickly. On screen, Captain. The wall display showed the 3 Zelrani ships moving into a new formation. They had been maintaining a respectful distance at the edge of the solar system, but now they were spreading out in what looked like an attack pattern. Captain, are their weapons active? Lisa asked. Negative, Admiral. But their energy signatures are increasing. They're definitely preparing for something. Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. Continue monitoring, Captain. Report any changes immediately. As the communication ended, Helen looked worried. Lisa, they're going to make their move soon. We need to decide what we're going to do. We stick to the plan, Lisa replied. We keep stalling and hope that help arrives before they lose patience. Completely. An hour later, Ambassador Thyrex requested an emergency meeting. When Lisa and Helen arrived in the conference room, they found both aliens waiting with serious expressions. Admiral Brooks, Thyrex began without preamble, the Confederation has been patient, but our patience has limits. We require an answer to our offer. Lisa sat down calmly. Ambassador, as I've explained, decisions of this magnitude require time. We're still discussing the matter with our governments. Kelvok leaned forward, his voice harsh. There is nothing to discuss. The Confederation's offer is generous and fair. Your hesitation suggests that you do not appreciate the benefits of membership, or the consequences of refusing, Thyrex added quietly. Helen tried to maintain diplomatic calm. Ambassador, we appreciate your position, but humanity cannot make such important decisions hastily. Surely you understand that. What I understand, Thyrex replied, standing up, is that your species is too proud for its own good. You see our offer as a threat to your independence, rather than protection for your survival. Because that's exactly what it is, Lisa said, no longer bothering to hide her anger. You want us to give up our right to expand and defend ourselves. In return, you offer us protection from threats that you conveniently haven't described. Kelvok's eyes narrowed. Very well. Since you require a demonstration of the threats you face, we will provide one. Lisa felt her blood turn cold. What do you mean? We mean that the Confederation will show you what happens to species that refuse our guidance, Thyrex said. Perhaps then you will understand the value of our protection. The aliens left the room without another word. Lisa immediately activated the emergency communication system. Captain Morrison, this is Admiral Brooks. What's the status of the alien fleet? Admiral, they're moving into our system. All 3 ships are heading toward Jupiter. Their weapons are now active. Lisa's mind raced. There were several human patrol ships near Jupiter, conducting routine surveillance of the outer system. If the aliens were planning a demonstration, those ships would be the targets. Captain, warn all ships in the Jupiter area to withdraw immediately. Tell them to get as far away as possible. Already done, Admiral. But the aliens are moving fast. I don't think our ships can outrun them. Lisa closed her eyes, knowing what was coming. Keep monitoring, Captain. Record everything. 20 minutes later, the demonstration began. The alien ships appeared near Jupiter, their sleek hulls gleaming in the light of the distant sun. 3 human patrol ships had been caught in the area. Despite the warnings to withdraw, Captain Morrison watched helplessly as the alien ships approached the human vessels. There was no dramatic battle, no exchange of fire. The alien ships simply fired beams of energy that passed through the human ship's shields as if they weren't there. "Captain," Lieutenant Amy Carter reported, her voice tight with tension. "The patrol ships are losing power. Their engines are shutting down. Life support is failing. The aliens are disabling them completely." On the main screen, the 3 human ships drifted helplessly in space, their lights flickering and dying. The aliens had demonstrated their technological superiority without destroying the ships or killing their crews. But the message was clear. "Captain Morrison," came a transmission from one of the disabled ships. "This is Lieutenant Paul Grant. On the Ranger, we're completely dead in space. Whatever they hit us with, it shut down everything electronic." Morrison gritted his teeth. "Understood, Lieutenant. Help is on the way." As the alien ships began to withdraw, leaving the disabled human vessels behind, Thyrix's voice came over the communication system. "Admiral Brooks, we trust that our demonstration was educational. You have 48 hours to accept the Confederation's offer. If you do not, we will consider humanity to be a hostile species." The transmission ended, leaving the humans to contemplate their situation. Lisa Brooks stared at the screen, showing the disabled ships, her mind working furiously. The aliens had made their point clearly. Human technology was no match for theirs. But as she watched the alien ships returning to their positions at the edge of the system, she noticed something interesting. Dr. Taylor had been monitoring their long-range sensors, and the readings showed that the aliens were scanning deep space constantly, as if they were looking for something. "Dr. Taylor," she said quietly, "what are they scanning for?" Kevin looked up from his console, his expression thoughtful. "I'm not sure, Admiral, but they seem nervous about something out there, something they can't quite locate." Lisa felt a small spark of hope. Maybe humanity had more options than the aliens realized. A 48-hour deadline was almost up. Admiral Lisa Brooks stood in the command center of Luna Station, watching the displays that showed the alien fleet positioned at the edge of the solar system. The 3 Zelrani ships maintained their formation, their weapon systems active and ready. "Admiral," Dr. Kevin Taylor called from his console, "I'm still picking up those deep space scans from the alien ships. They're focusing on the outer system, beyond Neptune." Lisa nodded, but her attention was focused on the countdown timer on the main screen. In 6 hours, the aliens would expect humanity's answer. She had already decided what that answer would be, but she hoped it wouldn't matter. Captain Jake Morrison's voice came over the communication system from the Defender. "Admiral, we're ready to begin evacuation of the outer system colonies if necessary." "Negative, Captain. Hold your position. We're not running." Ambassador Helen Martinez looked up from her desk, where she had been preparing humanity's official response to the alien ultimatum. "Lisa, are you sure about this? If they carry out their threat, millions of people could die. If we surrender, now, billions will die later," Lisa replied. "The Zelrani aren't offering us membership in their confederation. They're offering us slavery." Dr. Taylor suddenly straightened at his console. "Admiral, I'm detecting something. There's a massive energy signature approaching from the outer system." Lisa felt her heart skip a beat. "How massive?" "Bigger than anything I've ever seen. It's moving slowly, but it's definitely artificial, and it's heading this way." On the alien ships, Ambassador Thyrix and military advisor Kelvok were having their own discussion. The long-range sensors had detected the approaching object hours ago, and they were becoming increasingly concerned. "What do you think it is?" Thyrex asked, studying the readings. I'm not sure, Kelvok replied. The energy signature is enormous, but it's moving too slowly to be a weapon. Maybe a space station or a large transport. The humans haven't mentioned any installations in the outer system. The humans have been hiding things from us since we arrived, Kelvok said grimly. This could be another one of their secrets. As the hours passed, the mysterious object continued to approach. The alien scans revealed that it was incredibly large, but its exact nature remained unclear. The energy readings were off the charts, but the object seemed to be coasting rather than accelerating. Admiral, Dr. Taylor announced, I'm getting better readings on the contact. It's not a space station or a transport. It's a ship. Lisa turned to face him. How big? 15 kilometers long, Admiral. Maybe more. The command center fell silent. Even the largest human ships were less than 2 kilometers in length. A 15-kilometer vessel was beyond anything they had ever imagined. Can you identify it? Lisa asked. Dr. Taylor worked at his console for several minutes before looking up with a strange expression. Admiral, it's broadcasting human identification codes. It's one of ours. Lisa felt her legs go weak. Are you certain? Yes, Admiral. It's the U.E.'s Titan, Colossus-Class dreadnought. According to the records, it's been conducting deep space operations for the past 8 months. On the main screen, the approaching ship became visible as a small dot against the stars. But as it drew closer, its true size became apparent. The Titan was massive beyond comprehension, its hull dark and angular, bristling with weapon systems that dwarfed entire human cities. Captain Morrison's voice came over the communications. System tight with amazement. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the Titan. Put it through, Lisa ordered. The screen flickered, and a middle-aged man in a military uniform appeared. His face was weathered, with graying hair and calm eyes. Admiral Brooks, this is Captain Roy Phillips of the U.E.S. Titan. We received your emergency signal and came as quickly as we could. Lisa struggled to find her voice. Captain Phillips, we weren't aware that ships like yours existed. Roy smiled grimly. There are many things about humanity's capabilities that aren't public knowledge, Admiral. We prefer to keep our most powerful assets hidden until they're needed. The Titan continued its approach, and as it drew closer, its true size became overwhelming. The ship was not just large. It was a mobile fortress, equipped with weapons that could destroy entire fleets and shields that could withstand planet-killing weapons. On the alien ships, panic was beginning to set in. The energy readings from the human dreadnought were beyond anything in their experience. The ship's main guns were the size of skyscrapers, and its missile bays could launch thousands of projectiles simultaneously. Thyrex, Kelvok said, his voice strained. That ship could destroy our entire fleet with a single salvo. How is that possible? Thyrex demanded. The humans are supposed to be a young species. They've barely been in space for a century. Apparently, we underestimated them. As the Titan took position near Luna Station, its massive bulk casting shadows across the moon's surface, Captain Phillips opened a channel to the alien fleet. Ambassador Thyrex, this is Captain Roy Phillips of the United Earthship Titan. I understand you've been negotiating with Admiral Brooks. Thyrex's response was shaky. Captain Phillips, we were not aware that humanity possessed ships of such magnitude. There are many things about humanity that you're not aware of, Ambassador. We prefer to keep our capabilities private until circumstances require otherwise. The alien ships began to move, their formation becoming more defensive. But against the Titan's overwhelming firepower, defense was meaningless. The human dreadnought could annihilate all 3 alien vessels without even straining its systems. Captain, Thyrex said carefully, the Confederation's offer of membership remains open. We would be honored to welcome humanity as equals, Roy's smile was cold. Equals, Ambassador? An hour ago, you were demanding our surrender. What changed? Kelvok tried to salvage the situation. There has been a misunderstanding. The Confederation always intended to treat humanity as equals. Our previous discussions were simply preliminary negotiations. Is that so? Roy replied. Then perhaps you can explain why you disabled our patrol ships near Jupiter. That was merely a demonstration of our technology, Thyrex said quickly. We meant no harm. I see. And the ultimatum you gave Admiral Brooks? The alien ships were now actively trying to maintain distance from the Titan, but the massive human vessel could easily catch them if it chose to pursue. There was no ultimatum. Thyrex lead. We simply requested a timely response to our offer. Roy looked at Admiral Brooks on his screen. Admiral, what's your assessment of the situation? Lisa smiled for the first time in days. I think, Captain, that our guests have suddenly become much more reasonable. As the Titan's weapon systems powered up, filling space with energy signatures. That made the alien ships seem like toys. The balance of power in the solar system shifted completely. The Zelrani, who had arrived expecting to dictate terms to a weak species, now found themselves facing a military force that could destroy. Their entire civilization thought the age of human weakness was over. The conference room on Luna Station had been transformed. Where before the humans had sat as supplicants listening to alien demands, now Ambassador Thyrex and military advisor Kelvok shifted uncomfortably in their seats, while Admiral Lisa Brooks dictated terms with Captain Roy Phillips standing behind her. Through the large windows, the massive bulk of the UES Titan dominated the view. Its 15-kilometer length stretched across the lunar horizon, its weapon systems clearly visible and obviously powerful. The sight had a profound effect on the alien negotiators. Ambassador Thyrex, Lisa began, her voice calm but firm. I believe we need to start these negotiations over. Humanity is interested in peaceful relations with the Zelrani Confederation, but only as equals. Thyrex nodded quickly, his earlier arrogance completely gone. Of course, Admiral. The Confederation has always believed in equality among species. Captain. Phillips stepped forward slightly. That's interesting, Ambassador. Because according to our records of the previous negotiations, you demanded that humanity limit its expansion to 3-star systems and surrender its right to maintain a significant military force. There were misunderstandings in the translation. Kelvok said quickly. Our actual offer was quite different. Dr. Kevin Taylor, who had been monitoring the alien communications, spoke up. Ambassador, we've been recording all of your transmissions. The translation systems were working perfectly. You quite clearly stated that humanity would accept Confederation membership under your terms or face military action. Roy smiled coldly. Which brings us to the question of reparations. Your fleet disabled 3 of our patrol ships and threatened the lives of their crews. In most civilizations, that would be considered an act of war. Thyrex looked panicked. Captain Phillips, please understand, we never intended to harm anyone. The weapon we used was designed to disable, not destroy. Without warning, Lisa added. You attacked our ships without provocation to demonstrate your power. It was not an attack, Kelvok protested. It was a demonstration of our capabilities, meant to show humanity the benefits of Confederation protection. Roy's expression hardened. By threatening to destroy our ships and kill our people? That's an interesting definition of protection. Ambassador. Helen Martinez, who had been silent during the exchange, finally spoke. Gentlemen, let's focus on the future rather than the past. What can the Confederation offer humanity as equals? Thyrex seemed relieved to change the subject. The Confederation can offer advanced technology, access to galactic trade routes, and mutual defense agreements. We have thousands of member species, each contributing their unique capabilities. And what would you expect from humanity in return? Lisa asked. Simply friendship and cooperation, Thyrex replied. We would welcome human participation in Confederation activities and enjoy the benefits of human innovation and determination. Roy raised an eyebrow. No restrictions on our expansion? No limitations on our military development? None whatsoever, Kelvok said quickly. The Confederation respects the sovereignty of all member species. Dr. Taylor consulted his notes. That's very different from what you proposed 3 days ago. Then you wanted us to limit our expansion to our home system, and perhaps 1 or 2 nearby systems. As I said, there were translation errors, Thyrex insisted. Lisa stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the Titan. Captain Phillips, what's your assessment of the Confederation's military capabilities? Roy joined her at the window. Based on our scans of their ships, Admiral, their technology is advanced, but not overwhelming. Their weapon systems are sophisticated, but they rely on energy manipulation rather than raw power. The Titan's defenses could withstand their attacks, and our weapons would be highly effective against their ships. Interesting, Lisa said. So if they were truly interested in conquest, they would need to bring a much larger fleet. Much larger. Roy confirmed. I estimate they would need at least 50 ships of their current class to pose a serious threat to Earth's defenses. Thyrex and Kelvok exchanged nervous glances. The humans were discussing their military capabilities as if the aliens weren't even in the room. Admiral Brooks, Thyrex said carefully, the Confederation has no interest in conquest. We seek only peaceful cooperation. Lisa turned back to face him. Then you'll have no problem with our counter-proposal. Counter-proposal? Kelvok asked. Yes. Humanity is willing to establish diplomatic relations with the Confederation, but we have our own terms. Helen Martinez opened a folder and began reading. First, all Confederation ships will respect human territorial sovereignty. This includes a 50 light-year exclusion zone around Earth and all human colonies. 50 light-years? Thyrex protested. That's an enormous area. Second, Helen continued, humanity will maintain the right to expand into any unoccupied systems we choose, without interference from the Confederation. But that could lead to conflicts with other species, Kelvok objected. Third, humanity will retain full control over our military development and deployment. We will not accept restrictions on our defensive capabilities. Roy smiled. Including the construction of additional Colossus-Class dreadnoughts. The color drained from Thyrex's face. Additional ships like the Titan? The Titan is our first Colossus-Class vessel, Lisa explained. Construction is already underway on 3 more, with plans for a full fleet of 12. Fourth, Helen continued, any technology sharing agreements will be mutual and voluntary. Neither side will demand access to the other's military or scientific secrets. And finally, Lisa concluded, the Confederation will provide full information about any hostile species or threats in our area of the galaxy. No more vague warnings about unspecified dangers. Thyrex looked overwhelmed. Admiral, these terms are quite different from standard Confederation membership agreements. Then perhaps it's time for the Confederation to develop new standards. Roy suggested, the galaxy is changing, Ambassador. Species are becoming more powerful and more independent. The old ways of doing things may no longer be appropriate. Kelvok leaned forward. What happens if the Confederation cannot accept these terms? Lisa's smile was cold. Then we'll maintain our current relationship. You'll return to your territory, and we'll continue our expansion. If your people want to trade with us, they can approach us as equals. If they want to threaten us, they can face the consequences. Roy gestured toward the Titan. And before you leave, you might want to inform your military leaders that humanity has capabilities they haven't seen yet. The Titan is powerful, But it's not our only surprise. Thyrix and Kelvok looked at each other, clearly communicating in some silent way. Finally, Thyrix spoke. "We will need to consult with our government." "Of course," Lisa replied. "Take all the time you need. We're not going anywhere." As the aliens left the conference room, Dr. Taylor turned to Admiral Brooks. "Do you think they'll accept our terms?" "They don't have a choice," Lisa replied. "They came here expecting to find the weak species they could dominate. Instead, they found a potential superpower. They'll accept our terms because the alternative is to make an enemy of humanity." Roy nodded. "And if they don't?" Lisa looked out at the Titan, its massive bulk a testament to human engineering and determination. "Then they'll learn what happens when you underestimate the species that survived ice ages, plagues, and 2 world wars. They'll learn that humanity doesn't surrender." As the alien ships prepared to leave the solar system, carrying news of humanity's true strength back to their government, the balance of power in the galaxy had permanently shifted. The age of human isolation was over, but it had been replaced, not by subservience, but by the emergence of a new galactic power. The great hall of the Galactic Council stretched for miles under the purple sky of Zephyr Prime. 12 different alien species sat in their massive chairs, each one more powerful than the last. They had ruled the galaxy for over 3,000 years. Nothing could challenge them. Nothing had ever tried. Council leader Vexthara raised his 4 arms to call for silence. His blue skin glowed with the authority of countless worlds under his command. The other council members stopped there, chattering, and turned their many eyes toward him. "We have received reports about a new species," Vexthara announced. His voice echoed through the chamber like thunder. "They call themselves humans. They live on a small blue planet called Earth." The council members looked at each other. Some laughed. Others made clicking sounds with their teeth. A few just shook their heads. "How many ships do they have?" asked War Marshal Kethanara. She was the most feared military commander in the galaxy. Her red eyes could burn through steel. Her claws could cut through diamond. "Intelligence reports show they have maybe 50 ships," Vexthara replied. "All of them are very old. Their weapons are weak. Their shields are like paper." More laughter filled the hall. Council member Zixtal stood up on his 6 legs. 50 ships? We have over 10,000 ships in our fleet. Their entire military could not defeat one of our patrol groups. What do they want?" asked another council member. "They have been sending messages," Vexthara said. "They want to talk. They want peace. They want to join the galactic community." The laughter grew louder. Some council members fell out of their chairs. Others slapped their knees with multiple hands. The idea of these weak humans wanting to join their mighty council was the funniest thing they had heard in years. "Should we even bother with them?" asked Zixtal. "They seem so weak that they might destroy themselves before we get there." "We should make an example of them," War Marshal Kethanara said. Her voice was cold as ice. "Other young species are watching. If we let these humans live, others might think they can challenge us too." Far away from the Galactic Council, on the small blue planet Earth, Admiral Jake Morrison sat in his office at Earth Defense Command. He stared at the computer screen in front of him. The alien signals his team had intercepted made his blood run cold. Jake was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had served in Earth's military for 30 years. He had seen wars. He had seen death. But he had never seen anything like this. "Sir," called Lieutenant Ben Parker from across the room. "We finished translating more of their messages." Jake looked up. "What do they say?" "They are planning to attack us, sir. They think we are weak. They want to use us as an example for other planets." Jake stood up slowly. His joints ached from too many years of service. "How many ships are they sending?" 50 ships, sir." They call it a demonstration fleet. 50 ships, Jake repeated. He walked to the window and looked out at the Earth Defense Fleet in orbit. Their ships looked so small compared to what was coming. And how many ships do we have ready for battle? 32 ships, sir, but most of them are old. The newest one is still 15 years old. Jake nodded. He had known this day would come. Earth had been preparing for first contact for decades, but they had always hoped it would be peaceful. They had always hoped the aliens would be friendly. Get me Captain Ryan Brooks, Jake said. Tell him to prepare the fleet for battle. Sir, Lieutenant Parker said quietly. Do we have any chance of winning? Jake was quiet for a long moment. He thought about his children. He thought about his grandchildren. He thought about the billions of people on Earth who had no idea what was coming. We have to try, he said finally. We have to protect our home. On the other side of the base, Dr. Lisa Carter worked in her laboratory. She was Earth's best expert on alien technology. For years, she had studied the few pieces of alien equipment that had crashed on Earth. She had always wondered when aliens would come looking for their lost technology. Now she knew. Lisa was a small woman with brown hair and sharp eyes. She could solve problems that other scientists could not even understand. But the problem in front of her now seemed impossible. The alien ships are too advanced, she said to her computer. Their shields are 50 times stronger than ours. Their weapons are 100 times more powerful. We cannot fight them with our current technology. She looked at the alien device on her desk. It was a small blue crystal that had fallen from the sky 20 years ago. Earth scientists had never figured out how it worked. But Lisa had a feeling it was important. Maybe there is another way, she whispered to herself. Back in space, Captain Ryan Brooks stood on the bridge of his ship, the EDS Defender. He looked out at the stars and wondered if he would ever see Earth again. His crew was preparing for battle. They checked their weapons. They tested their shields. They said goodbye to their families. Ryan was a good captain. His crew trusted him. His ship was one of the best in the fleet, but he knew it would not be enough. Captain, called his communications officer, we are receiving a message from the aliens. Put it on screen, Ryan said. The alien face that appeared was terrifying. It had red eyes and sharp teeth. When it spoke, its voice was full of hate. Humans of Earth, the alien said, I am Commander Zix Tal of the Galactic Council. We are coming to your planet. You will surrender. You will become our slaves. If you fight, we will destroy you all. The message ended. Ryan's crew looked at him. They were scared. They were outnumbered. They were outgunned. But they were not going to give up. All ships, Ryan said into his communicator. This is Captain Brooks. We have received the alien message. We know what we are facing. We know the odds. But we are not going to surrender. We are not going to run. We are going to fight. We are going to protect our home. We are going to show these aliens that humans do not give up. The voices of 31. Other ship captains came back over the radio. Yes, sir. We are ready to fight. Ryan looked out at the stars one more time. Somewhere out there, 50 alien ships were coming to destroy his world. He did not know if Earth could win, but he knew they had to try. This is Admiral Morrison too. All ships, came a voice over the radio. Enemy fleet will arrive in 72 hours. All crews report to battle stations. This is not a drill. This is the real thing. Good luck and Godspeed. Ryan felt his heart beating fast. In 3 days, the fate of Earth would be decided. In 3 days, humanity would face its greatest test. The war for Earth was about to begin. The alien fleet came out of hyperspace like a storm of death. 50 massive ships appeared near Jupiter's moons, their hulls glowing with energy shields that made them look like floating cities. Each ship was 3 times larger than Earth's biggest battleship. Commander Zixtal stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Destroyer of Worlds. He looked at the human ships on his screen and laughed. The Earth Defense Fleet looked like toys compared to his mighty vessels. Are those really their warships? He asked his weapons officer. They look like the cargo ships our children play with. Yes, Commander, the weapons officer replied. Our scanners show they have basic plasma cannons and simple energy shields. Their technology is at least 200 years behind ours. Zixtal nodded. This would be easier than he had thought. The Galactic Council had sent him to make an example of these humans. He would crush them so completely that other young species would never dare to challenge the Council's power. Open a channel to all human ships, he ordered. On the bridge of the EDS Defender, Captain Ryan Brooks watched as the alien commander's face appeared on his screen. The creature's red eyes seemed to burn with hate. Its sharp teeth gleamed in the light. Human ships, Commander Zixtal said. You are surrounded. You cannot escape. You cannot win. Surrender now, and we will kill you quickly. Fight us, and we will make you suffer. Captain Brooks looked at his crew. They were scared, but they were ready. These were good people. They had families back on Earth. They had friends. They had lives worth fighting for. This is Captain Brooks of the Earth Defense Fleet, he said. We will not surrender. We will not run. If you want our planet, you will have to take it from us. Commander Zixtal laughed. So be it. You have chosen death. Attack. The alien ships opened fire first. Beams of pure energy shot through space like lightning. The human ships scattered, using their speed to avoid the deadly weapons. But speed was not enough. The EDS Liberty took a direct hit. Her shields collapsed instantly. The energy beam burned through her hull like paper. Captain Amy Walsh tried to save her ship, but it was too late. The Liberty exploded in a ball of fire. Liberty is down, shouted Ryan's communications officer. No survivors, Ryan gritted his teeth. They had lost a ship and 60 good people in the first minute of battle. But they could not give up. They had to keep fighting. All ships, attack pattern Delta, he ordered. Focus fire on their lead ship. The Earth ships moved in formation, firing their plasma cannons at the alien flagship. The blue energy beams hit the alien shields and bounced off like raindrops on a window. The alien ship did not even slow down. Our weapons are not working, reported his weapons officer. Their shields are too strong. Another Earth ship exploded. Then another. The aliens were picking them off, one by one, like flies. Ryan watched as the EDS Courage was cut in half by an alien beam. The Ed's Hope was torn apart by alien missiles. Good ships, good crews, all gone. Sir? Called Lieutenant Ben Parker from his position at the communications console. I have an idea. If I can get close enough to their flagship, I might be able to scan their technology. Maybe we can find a weakness. Ryan looked at the young officer. Ben was barely 25 years old. He had a wife and a baby back on Earth. He had his whole life ahead of him. It's too dangerous, Ryan said. Those ships will destroy you before you get close. With respect, sir, Ben said, we are all going to die anyway. At least this way, Earth might have a chance. Ryan knew Ben was right. The battle was lost. Half the Earth fleet was already destroyed. The aliens were just playing with them now, destroying one ship at a time. Do it, Ryan said. Get as close as you can. Send everything you learned back to Earth. Ben nodded and ran to his small scout ship. The Hades Falcon was fast and hard to hit. If anyone could get close to the alien flagship, it would be Ben. The little ship shot through space like a bullet. Alien weapons fired at it, but Ben was too quick. He dodged and weaved between the energy beams. He flew through clouds of debris from destroyed Earth ships. He got closer and closer to the flagship. "I'm in scanning range," Ben reported over the radio. "Starting data collection now." The alien ship's weapons turned toward him. Commander Zixtal had noticed the small human ship getting too close. "Destroy that pest," he ordered. Energy beams surrounded Ben's ship. He turned and twisted, but there were too many. One beam clipped his engine. Another ate his shields. The little ship started to fall apart. "I got it." Ben shouted over the radio. "I got their shield frequency. I'm sending the data to Earth now." The transmission went out just as Ben's ship exploded. The young officer died, but his sacrifice was not in vain. The data he had collected was already racing toward Earth at light speed. "Commander." Zixtal watched the last human ship explode and smiled. The battle was over. The humans had fought bravely, but bravery was not enough. They were weak. They were primitive. They were defeated. "All ships, set course for Earth," he ordered. "We will finish this." But as his fleet prepared to leave, his communications officer picked up something strange. "Commander," the officer said, "I am detecting a transmission from that destroyed scout ship. It was sending data to Earth before it exploded." Zixtal shrugged. "What does it matter? It was probably just a final message to their families. Let them have their last words. In a few days, there will be no one left to read them." The alien fleet moved toward Earth, leaving behind the wreckage of the human defense force. Broken ships drifted through space. Bodies floated in the darkness. The first battle was over, and the aliens had won. On Earth, Admiral Jake Morrison sat in his office and read the battle report. 32 ships had gone into battle. Only 2 had returned. Captain Brooks was alive, but his ship was badly damaged. Commander Walsh had managed to escape in a damaged fighter. "We lost," Jake said quietly. "We lost everything." "Not everything," said Dr. Lisa Carter. She had been studying the data that Ben Parker had died to collect. This information about their shields could be important. We might be able to use it. Jake looked at the data on his screen. It was full of numbers and symbols that he did not understand. But he could see the hope in Lisa's eyes. "How long do we have?" he asked. "The alien fleet is moving slowly," Lisa said. "They will reach Earth in 48 hours. They probably think we are defeated. They probably think we will surrender." Jake stood up and looked out the window at Earth. It was a beautiful planet, green and blue and full of life, full of people who deserved to live free. "We are not defeated," he said. "We are not surrendering. We still have one card to play." "What card?" Lisa asked. Jake smiled for the first time in days. "The card they do not know about. The card we have been keeping secret for 30 years. He pressed a button on his desk. A secure communication channel opened. On the screen appeared a man Jake had not spoken to in months. "Hello, Admiral," said the man. "I have been expecting your call." "Colonel Steve Murphy," Jake said. "Is Project Titan ready?" "It has been ready for 2 years," Murphy replied. "We have just been waiting for the right moment to reveal it." Jake nodded. "The moment has arrived. How soon can you launch?" "Give me 12 hours, Murphy said. "And Admiral? Those aliens are about to learn that they should never underestimate humanity." The communication ended. Jake felt something he had not felt since the battle began. He felt hope. The aliens thought they had won. They thought Earth was defenseless. They thought wrong. Project Titan was about to change everything. Dr. Lisa Carter had not slept in 3 days. She sat in her laboratory, surrounded by alien technology and computer screens showing data from the battle. The coffee cup in her hand was cold, but she did not notice. She was too busy making the most important discovery of her life. "I found it," she whispered to herself. "I found their weakness." The data that Lieutenant Ben Parker had died to collect was more valuable than gold. It showed exactly how the alien shields worked. More importantly, it showed how they did not work. Lisa had spent years studying the alien crystal that had crashed on Earth 20 years ago. She had always known it was important, but she had never understood why. Now she knew. The crystal was part of their shield technology, and it had a flaw. The aliens are too confident, she said to her computer. They think their shields are perfect, but they have never fought an enemy that understands their technology. She picked up her phone and called Admiral Morrison. Jake, you need to get down here right now and bring Colonel Murphy with you. 30 minutes later, the two military leaders sat in Lisa's lab. They looked tired and worried. The alien fleet was getting closer to Earth every hour. What did you find? Admiral Morrison asked. Lisa pointed to her computer screen. The aliens made a mistake. They think Earth's military is weak because they have only seen our old ships. But they do not understand human nature. They do not understand that we like to keep secrets. Colonel Steve Murphy leaned forward. He was a tall man with short gray hair and serious eyes. For 30 years, he had been in charge of Earth's most secret military projects. Tell them about the crystal, he said. Lisa picked up the small blue crystal from her desk. This crashed on Earth in 2005. We never told anyone about it. We have been studying it in secret ever since. It is part of their shield technology. And? Admiral Morrison asked. And it has a weakness, Lisa said. The shields work by creating a field of energy around the ship. But the field has gaps. Small holes that appear and disappear every few seconds. If you know where to look, you can shoot through them. Colonel Murphy smiled. That is not the only secret we have been keeping. He pressed a button on his phone. The lights in the lab dimmed. A holographic image appeared in the air above them. It showed a massive spaceship unlike anything Earth had ever built. This is the Ed's Goliath, Murphy said. The first Titan-class battleship. We have been building it in secret for 15 years. Admiral Morrison stared at the image. The ship was enormous. It was bigger than any alien vessel he had seen. Its hull was covered in strange armor that seemed to shift and move like liquid metal. How is this possible? He asked. How did you build something like this without anyone knowing? We built it in the outer system, Murphy replied. Beyond Pluto, where no one goes. We used technology from crashed alien ships. We used ideas from our best scientists. We used materials that do not exist anywhere else in the galaxy. Lisa looked at the hologram. The armor is made from quantum metal. It can absorb energy and redirect it. The engines use gravity manipulation. The weapons combine human kinetic energy with alien plasma technology. Who is commanding it? Admiral Morrison asked. Captain Tony Mitchell, Murphy said. He has been training for this mission for 10 years. His crew is hand-picked from the best officers in the fleet. They have been living on the ship for 2 years, learning every system, preparing for this moment. Admiral Morrison felt hope growing in his chest. How powerful is it? Powerful enough to change the balance of power in the galaxy, Murphy said. The aliens have ruled for 3,000 years because they had the best technology. But they have never fought an enemy that could match them. They have never fought an enemy that could surprise them. Lisa pointed to another screen. There is something else. The aliens do not understand human tactics. They fight in straight lines. They attack from the front. They expect their enemies to do the same. But humans are different, Murphy said. We are sneaky. We are creative. We think outside the box. We use tricks and traps and surprise attacks. The Ed's Goliath has been hiding in the asteroid belt for 6 months, Lisa said. Its stealth systems are so advanced that even we sometimes lose track of it. The aliens have no idea it exists. Admiral Morrison stood up and walked to the window. Outside, he could see the lights of the city. Millions of people going about their lives, not knowing that their planet was about to be invaded. When will the aliens arrive? He asked. 18 hours, Murphy replied. Their fleet is moving slowly. They think they have already won. They think Earth is defenseless. And when will Captain Mitchell be ready to attack? He is ready now, Murphy said. He has been waiting for your order. Admiral Morrison turned back to face them. What are his chances? Lisa and Murphy looked at each other. They had run the calculations hundreds of times. They had studied every possible scenario. The ED's Goliath is more advanced than any ship in the galaxy, Lisa said. But it is still just one ship against 50 alien vessels. However, Murphy added, those 50 ships are not expecting a fight. They think they are coming to accept Earth's surrender. They will not be ready for battle. Admiral Morrison nodded. And if Captain Mitchell fails? Then Earth dies, Murphy said simply. But if he succeeds, the galaxy will never be the same. The aliens will learn that humanity is not to be underestimated. Far away, beyond the orbit of Pluto, the EDS Goliath drifted silently through space. It was invisible to sensors, hidden by technology that bent light around its hull. On the bridge, Captain Tony Mitchell stood watching the stars. Tony was a quiet man with steady hands and calm eyes. He had been chosen for this mission because he could think clearly under pressure. He could make hard decisions without hesitation. He could lead his crew through impossible situations. Captain, called his navigation officer, Kelly Rogers. We are receiving a transmission from Earth. Tony nodded. Put it on screen. Admiral Morrison's face appeared on the main display. The old admiral looked tired but determined. Captain Mitchell, Morrison said, the time has come. The alien fleet will reach Earth in 18 hours. You are authorized to begin Operation Titan. Tony felt his heart beat faster. After years of training, after years of waiting, the moment had finally arrived. Understood, Admiral, he said. We will not let you down. I know you won't, Morrison replied. Good luck, Captain. The fate of humanity is in your hands. The transmission ended. Tony looked around his bridge. His crew was ready. They had trained for this moment their entire careers. All hands, this is the captain, he said over the ship's communication system. We are beginning Operation Titan. In 18 hours, we will engage the alien fleet. We will show them that humanity is not weak. We will show them that Earth is not defenseless. We will show them that they made a mistake when they decided to attack our home. The crew cheered. They had been waiting for this moment too. They were ready to fight for their planet. Weapons Officer Chris Taylor, prepare all systems, Tony ordered. We will have one chance to surprise them. We cannot afford to miss. Chris. Taylor was young, but he was the best weapons officer in the fleet. His hands moved quickly over his controls, activating the ship's incredible arsenal. All weapons ready, Captain, he reported. Quantum torpedoes loaded. Plasma cannons charged. Kinetic railguns online. Tony smiled. The aliens had no idea what was coming. They thought they were about to conquer a weak planet. Instead, they were about to face the most advanced warship ever built. Set course for Earth, he ordered. It is time to show the galaxy what humanity can do. The ED's Goliath turned toward the inner system. Its engines produced no visible exhaust. Its hull remained invisible to sensors. It moved like a ghost through space, carrying the hopes and dreams of an entire planet. The aliens were about to learn the humans were full of surprises. The alien fleet approached Earth like a pack of hunting wolves. 50 massive warships moved in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming with energy shields. War Marshal Kethanara stood on the bridge of her flagship. the galaxy's fist, watching the blue planet grow larger on her screen. "It is a beautiful world," she said to her second-in-command. "It will make a good example for other species who think they can challenge the Council." "What about the human defense fleet?" asked her weapons officer. "Are they preparing to fight?" Cathanara laughed. "Look at your scanner. The remaining ships are retreating toward their planet. They know they cannot win. They are probably preparing to surrender." On Earth, the few surviving human ships did indeed appear to be retreating. The damaged ED's defender limped toward the inner system, followed by 3 other battered vessels. Captain Ryan Brooks sat on his bridge, his ship barely holding together after the battle at Jupiter. "This is Admiral Morrison to all remaining ships," came a voice over the radio. "Fall back to Earth's moon. Take defensive positions and wait for further orders." Ryan frowned. They had maybe 4 working ships left. The alien fleet had 50. What was the Admiral planning? "Sir?" called his communications officer. "I am picking up strange readings from the asteroid belt. Some kind of energy signature." "Probably just solar wind," Ryan said. "Focus on getting us to the moon in one piece." But the energy signature was not solar wind. Hidden in the asteroid belt, the EDS Goliath was powering up its systems. Captain Tony Mitchell stood on the bridge of the massive battleship, watching the alien fleet approach his home planet. "Distance to target?" he asked. 50,000 kilometers. "And closing," reported Navigation Officer Kelly Rogers. "They are moving slowly, probably expecting us to surrender." Tony nodded. The aliens were being careless. They thought Earth was defeated. They thought there were no more surprises. They were wrong. "All departments, report status," he ordered. "Weapon systems fully charged," called Chris Taylor from the weapons station. "Quantum torpedoes ready, plasma cannons ready, kinetic railguns ready. Engines at full power," reported the chief engineer. "Gravity drives are stable. We can move at maximum speed whenever you give the order. Stealth systems operating perfectly," added the science officer. "We are completely invisible to their sensors." Tony felt calm. His crew was ready. His ship was ready. After years of preparation, the moment had finally arrived. "Open a channel to Admiral Morrison," he ordered. Admiral Morrison's face appeared. On the screen, the old man looked worried but determined. "Captain Mitchell," Morrison said, "the alien fleet is surrounding Earth. They are demanding our surrender. Are you ready to begin the operation?" "Ready and waiting for your order, Admiral," Tony replied. Morrison took a deep breath. "Begin Operation Titan. Show them what humanity is capable of. Good luck, Captain." The transmission ended. Tony looked at his crew. They were young and brave, and ready to fight for their planet. "All hands, this is the captain," he announced over the ship's communication system. "We are beginning our attack. Remember your training. Remember what we are fighting for. Let us show the galaxy that humanity will never surrender." Meanwhile, War Marshal Cathanara was enjoying her moment of victory. She had surrounded Earth with her fleet. The few remaining human ships were hiding behind their moon like frightened children. "Open a channel to the planet," she ordered. The image of Earth appeared on her screen. It was a beautiful world with blue oceans and green continents. Soon it would belong to the Galactic Council. "People of Earth," she said, her voice broadcasting to every radio and television on the planet. "This is War Marshal Cathanara of the Galactic Council. Your pathetic defense fleet has been destroyed. Your planet is surrounded. You have 1 hour to surrender unconditionally. If you refuse, we will destroy your cities one by one until you submit." The transmission ended. Cathanara smiled. She had done this many times before. Young species always tried to fight at first. Then they realized how hopeless it was. Then they surrendered. Set weapons to target their major cities, she ordered. When the hour is up, destroy one city as a demonstration. That will make them surrender quickly. But as her fleet prepared for the bombardment, something impossible happened. Space itself seemed to bend and twist behind the alien formation. The stars shifted and moved. Reality seemed to blur. "What is that?" asked Kethanara S. Science Officer. Before anyone could answer, the Ed's Goliath decloaked. The massive battleship appeared like a ghost materializing from another dimension. It was enormous, bigger than any ship in the alien fleet. Its hull was covered in quantum armor that shifted and flowed like liquid metal. Energy coursed through its frame like lightning. "Impossible," whispered Kethanara. "Where did that come from?" Her weapons officer was frantically checking his instruments. "Ma'am, I am reading power levels unlike anything in our database. That ship is generating more energy than our entire fleet combined." The alien fleet was in chaos. 50 ships that had been preparing to bombard Earth suddenly found themselves staring at a vessel that dwarfed them all. The humans were supposed to be defeated. They were supposed to be primitive. They were supposed to be helpless. "It must be a space station," said Kethanara, second in command. "The humans are trying to trick us with some kind of civilian vessel." But Captain Tony Mitchell was about to show them how wrong they were. "This is Captain Mitchell of the Earth defense ship Goliath," he said, his voice broadcasting to every alien ship. "You came to our system uninvited. You destroyed our ships. You threatened our planet. You made a mistake." Kethanara tried to respond, but Tony was not finished. "You think we are weak because our old ships could not match your technology. But you do not understand humans. We do not show our best cards until the game is almost over. We do not reveal our true strength until we are ready to use it." The ED's Goliath began to move. Despite its massive size, it moved like a dancer, graceful and fluid. The alien ships tried to track it, but it was too fast and too unpredictable. "All alien ships," Tony continued, "you have 10 seconds to withdraw from this system. If you do not leave, we will consider you hostile and respond accordingly." War Marshal Kethanara was furious. "One ship. They send one ship against our entire fleet. Destroy it immediately." The alien ships opened fire. 50 vessels unleashed everything they had. Energy beams, plasma torpedoes, and gravity missiles filled space with deadly light. The firepower was enough to destroy a small moon. But when the light faded, the EDS Goliath was still there. Its quantum armor had absorbed the energy and redirected it harmlessly into space. The massive battleship had not even been scratched. "Impossible," breathed Kethanara. "Nothing can survive that much firepower." "Your turn," said Captain Mitchell. The EDS Goliath fired its first salvo. The quantum torpedoes moved faster than anything the aliens had ever seen. They passed through the alien shields like they were not there. 3 alien ships exploded instantly, their hulls torn apart by weapons that combined human kinetic energy with alien plasma technology. "Our shields are useless," screamed the alien weapons officer. "Their weapons are passing right through them." Kethanara stared at her screen in disbelief. 3 of her ships were gone, just like that. The humans had found a way to bypass their shields completely. How is this possible? She asked. Captain Mitchell answered her question by firing again. This time, the Goliath's plasma cannons joined the attack. The alien ships scattered, but they were too slow. 2 more vessels exploded in balls of fire. "They know our shield frequency," said the science officer. "Somehow, they have learned to exploit our defensive systems." The tide of battle had turned completely. The alien fleet that had come to conquer Earth was now fighting for its survival. The humans they had thought were primitive were destroying them with ease. "All ships retreat," ordered Kethanara. Fall back to minimum safe distance. But the Goliath was not finished. Fighter craft began launching from its massive hull. Small, fast ships that moved like angry wasps. They were equipped with the same quantum armor as the battleship, making them nearly impossible to destroy. Commander Alice Ford led the fighter squadrons. She had trained for this moment her entire career. Her pilots were the best in the fleet, and they were fighting for their home. "All fighters, this is Commander Ford," she said over the radio. "Show them what human pilots can do. Make them regret coming to our system." The human fighters swarmed the alien ships like angry bees. They were too fast to track, too small to hit, and too numerous to stop. The aliens watched in horror as their mighty fleet was torn apart by tiny ships that should not have been able to hurt them. War. Marshal Cathanara realized that she had made a terrible mistake. The humans were not weak. They were not primitive. They were dangerous. More dangerous than any species the Council had ever faced. "Send a message to the Council," she ordered. "Tell them we need reinforcements. Tell them the humans are not what they seem." But it was too late for reinforcements. The Goliath had shown the galaxy that humanity was not to be underestimated. The species that had been laughed at for their primitive defenses had just changed the balance of power in the galaxy forever.